So at one point I had a person call me. I didn't know her, but someone else recommended to her that she call me because she knew my son was a heroin addict. And so she called me up and, introduced herself on the phone and said, I'm calling you because, this person gave me your name and I understand your child is a heroin addict and so is my son. So we talked. And at first is always the emotions of, oh my God, I'm so sorry you're in my group, parents of the drug addicts. It's a horrible group to be in. And so there's a lot of, acknowledging that emotional pain and fear, because it's incredibly fearful. Nobody's thinking about their child, is going to become a heroin addict and potentially, you can't even fathom that they might die one day. So we talked off and on, and I tried to be supportive. This was several years ago, so I had less knowledge than I do today. But I connected with her in the emotional and the fearful place that we were both at. Mine a little farther along, I had known longer, and I had already survived Ryan ODing. So we had already survived that, and so I gave her the best advice that I could about not enabling him. And of course, sometimes we don't think we are, but we are. And, just to hold the line and say, I need for you to do these things and hold the line on that. And don't back down. Don't give him things if he doesn't, do these things. At some point in time, it became apparent in our conversations that she was actually afraid of her son. I believe he was becoming aggressive and violent with her, in his need to achieve getting money and then ultimately to get drugs. I personally have never been afraid of my son. Frankly, I've been afraid for him, but not afraid of him. I think I'm probably meaner than that. So I've never been afraid of him. He's probably more afraid of me. However, fear is a very big thing in here, depending upon where it affects you, whether it's you're afraid for your child or you're afraid of your child. So at this point, she's now become afraid of him. He's been aggressive and violent with her. And I took the stance that she needed to kick him out, because bottom line is you can't be afraid of your kid. They can't hit you. They can't harm you. They can't push you. That's unacceptable. You love your kid, but when violence becomes a part of the deal needs to stop. So I encouraged her to kick him out, and which she did. She kicked him out. Ultimately, he ended up in an apartment, and ultimately he continued to use drugs, and the end result was he OD'd and he died. Help was not called. The person that was with him did not call for help until it was too late. And whether this person knew, what was going on, whether it was too late or whether they purposely delayed because they didn't want to get into trouble, I'll never know the answer. She'll never know the answer to that question. But ultimately, she unfortunately lost her child. Would I do that differently today? Probably not. Even with the knowledge I have today, that if violence is ever a part of your relationship, you need to, kick your child out. Either they need to go to a rehab or you need to send them to the streets. It is a huge risk. Your child might die. It does happen. However, your first job is to protect and save yourself in that situation, because you're not going to be any good to help your child become sober if you're afraid and they are physically harming you. That is unacceptable. So unfortunately, losses of lives do occur in this deal. You have to do what's best for you. Ultimately, you've got to do what's best for you. I chose to take the stance that I wanted to figure this out, that I didn't want to lose my kid. And so I chose to do all the things I've done, including lay on the ground and cry and enable at times. But each time I've gotten up, and I've gotten up stronger, and each time as he's rebounded from his relapses, he's gotten up stronger. It's a battle, but we keep working at it. But my advice, if you are afraid of your child, that you either have them removed, you send them to a rehab, or you kick them out to the streets, because your safety is the first priority.